Hi, Misha here, and yeah, it's been a few weeks since I've done a Blackbox video, but eh, this whole idea behind the personal channel is kind of doing things when and where I feel like it, and while I'm fine, nothing bad's happened, just haven't had a whole lot to report on. I thought about doing a topic here or there, but don't know. Just had a lot going on, and yeah, not a lot of news to talk about. But with that, I figured I had about a few minutes here. Might as well do one. As you can see from this channel, I've been doing quite a few videos on Russian tanks, Russian armor. That will continue. They're a lot cheaper models than the airplanes, but I did kind of cover the Russian aircraft series earlier anyway, and keeping stuff going on the main Mishaco channel as best I can as now too. One problem I'm gonna have is getting to shoot guns for the next couple of months because it's hunting season around here. And if you go blasting guns pretty much anywhere outdoors, you're going to piss off a few hunters because you're scaring away the deer. So, oh well. There isn't really anything super new to talk about. Nothing that needs shooting, a new design. Even if there is a new gun or something that comes out, it's typically just, based on something else. And, of course, the cost of ammo, it's not great. Not much has happened in the gun world in general. It's pretty even Steven. Hopefully we'll see a few new things before the holidays. New products, new imports. But for right now, we're just kind of hanging out. But, yeah. My wife has been doing her new job for a couple of weeks now. That seems to be a-okay. And I did go back home to visit family for a couple of days last week over the Halloween holiday, and all was okay down there. The day of Halloween itself was kind of funny because it fell on a Sunday this year, so it was kind of half the people seem to be doing it Saturday, half were still doing it on Sunday. And of course, trick-or-treating isn't what it once was. Part of it is, of course, COVID last year, but a lot of it's just changing social dynamics. Instead of going door to door in a gaggle of kids, maybe with a parent watching at the end of the block, or at least from the road, now it's more of a going to a social event at a church or downtown square or what have you, a youth center. But that's just how things go. We ended up putting a table together for my mother the night, the night of Halloween Eve. I don't know what you call it, October 30th. Got that done and ate out a couple of times, took care of a few odds and ends. Yeah, you can tell it's just kind of been normal. I did finally restock on Benelli shotguns for the first time really since COVID. M2 LEs, M3 LEs. Didn't get M4 LEs this time, but did get some M4 tacticals and a couple of the M4 version known as the M1014, the military edition. I'm not sure why they're doing another run of those. That was the first version of the M4 ever sold here to the civilians, and I have to wonder if it's maybe like a 20th anniversary, because the first time the M4, the M1014 saw field use was in November of 2001. So now that we're kind of there right now, I wonder if it's just a little bit of a commemorative thing. Could just be because they felt the hell like doing it. Who knows? Put out a couple of those cabin videos on the main channel, and people seem to respond pretty well to those. and did a video on the AK versus the M14, and yeah, that did. People were really interested in that, so I might have to think about kind of doing another one along those lines. A few more things planned, but some stuff might have to wait. And unfortunately, the weather, we kind of went from being unseasonably hot to quite cold. In fact, tonight's supposed to hit freezing, about 32 degrees. But we are into the beginning of November. But it's more than that been rainy. We've had a lot of rain. We had a very dry September, but then a lot of rain the last week of October, and it's still raining some here in November. So it's just, even though it's not that cold out, 40s or 50s, it feels like it because of the damp. Yeah. Not much going on. Did that video for Patreons about the shelves I bought to hold my mag pouches. It was kind of good to get those rearranged. And ended up ordering a few more Russian tanks out of Russia because they're not really available here. Surprise, surprise. But yeah, speaking of Eagle Moss, they have started to ship. You know, I just put out the video on the Loki heavy cruiser and did one on the Osiris a couple of weeks ago. There's also a couple of Star Trek Online ships that have come in recently, and there's been a couple of the bonus editions from the JJ verse, like the little secondary starships. Gonna do a video on those, but I'm waiting till the final one comes in. Just little things like that, nothing major, but at least there's a few things shipping, but they're all shipping weirdly out of order. That I'm pretty much happy, but kind of just tired, and kind of happy with things with my gun collection. Not a whole lot new. Sales have been fine. People are really liking the Benellis. They always sell pretty well for me, though, frankly. Yeah. Get through the holiday season. That'll be good. This will be, of course, a pretty rough holiday season for obvious reasons. It's always hard the first Thanksgiving, the first Christmas without someone. But once we get through that, we'll get up on a year since it happened. So, there we are. Time goes by. I will say, just had some good news from my family. A family member went for a checkup a couple of days ago and it was all clear. So that was good. He had some run-ins with cancer and had treatment over the summer, and I think that was back, in August? Yeah, August. So 3 months on, and seems to be cancer-free, or at least remission. So that's good. Another family member bought a new house, or is, agreed to and in the process of closing. So that's cool. And a good friend of mine just closed on his house last week. Seems to be kind of the time. It's kind of funny. We worked all year to pay off our house, and did so. And the idea was, well, now we'll be able to easily get a loan to go buy another house, a bigger one. And now that we've done that, we're just kind of like, we still want a bigger house, that's for sure. But it's hard to go from being debt-free back into debt. And right now things are a little uncertain. I just don't know where the gun business is going. And I don't even mean that in a political sense, really. I really don't. Politics are certainly a thing about, banning imports, which are my main product. But even putting that aside, it's a very changing market. Gun brokers getting harder to work with. People are wanting more and more automation. Prices are getting lower. I don't know. And when I started the business, it was to sell milsurp, M1 Grands, Mausers, Enfields, what have you. Those are just getting so few and far between. I used to buy 2 collections or so a year, and a collection being anywhere from 20 to 60 pieces, whatever. But then that kind of dropped to 1 collection, and now we're kind of at a point where I don't know. And when you do find them, people want oodles of money, and I don't blame them. You want what you want for your guns. But let's just say, I don't know, this here Mauser, no particular one, retails for $1,000. If I'm buying a collection, if I'm taking, say, 40 of your guns, I can't give you $900 for that Mauser. On the surface of it, yeah, I'm making at the $100 profit is okay on $900. But that's if you're buying one gun. If I'm having to fork out that much money and work, taking pictures and going over, I've got to be able to get into a gun cheaper, because usually if you buy 40 guns, a couple of them are going to have issues. Maybe mechanical, maybe some markings scrubbed off. So a couple of them may not be worth as much as you think. And so you need to be able to get into the other guns to make up for that. So, if a gun's worth $1,000, and if I'm buying 40, I really need to be able to get into it $600 or $700 at the very most. Because again, I'm forking out a huge chunk of change, and I'm taking all the work on. And some people get that, but some people don't. There's a different mindset. And to those people, I say that's fine, but sell your own guns individually at gun shows or online. Don't look for a dealer to come in and buy everything, because you're just not leaving enough meat there. I'm not really referring to any specific incident that happened recently, although there was one about a year and a half ago that kind of rubbed me that way, and I really honestly barely got out of it making anything, because a couple of the guns were missing parts and just weren't as advertised. You said they were numbers matching, and finally when I got a chance to look at them, some of them weren't numbers matching, so not worth that much, and it just didn't really shake out. And of course it was a whole weekend of my time going to get them, bringing them back, cleaning them up, finding storage. It's all a big thing. So I don't know. As long as I can, I'll keep doing the Arsenals and the Benellis and the Zastavas and the FB Ratums. But who knows? I don't. Glocks and ARs are fine, but there's not a whole lot of difference there, and moreover, it's just not super interesting. I like a gun with some meat in it, some interesting story or history. Just something a little more dynamic. But, yeah. With my wife working a different job, it does allow me a little bit of a time to step back if I need to. That and, having the house done. Now, that said, I am going down again in a couple of weeks to pick up a smaller batch of guns from JDI down in Dallas-Fort Worth. Probably, 25 to 35 total. But considering they're Swiss guns, that's still a pretty good chunk. But, that'll be good. Plus, he has some accessories and things. So, that'll give me something to sell over the Christmas holiday. But, I don't know, I'll tell you, the owner of JDI is just very pessimistic about the future of imports, and I don't know. You hear so much. Hard to kind of separate the wheat from the chaff, if you know what I mean. Oh, look, cat fight. Wow, wow. Yes, cats. It really is quite cold out here. But wife's still at work. I'm actually recording this relatively early. It's like 11:30 at night instead of like 5 in the morning. But before I recorded it after my wife went to bed. This time I'm recording it before she gets home. So, yeah, that's another thing too. The sleep schedule is all kinds of messed up. She's working the evening shift, basically 4 to midnight. And she did that for a week. And then she went back to days for training. But now she's back to nights. So, yeah. Doesn't bother me. It just means that I won't be available for people until early afternoon. Or early evening, late afternoon. I've been getting up. about the time she gets to go to work. She leaves here, 3-ish to go to work, so I get up then, but then I stay up till dawn. Of course, so does she. Yeah, it works, as long as it's an income and whatnot. And the guy who helps me, only one of the few left, he's been sick this week. And more importantly, starting next year, he's going back to school, meaning he won't be available most evenings. So I'm not rightly sure what I'm going to do. But I've learned in life not to worry too much about it. One door closes, another one opens. So, I'll keep my ear to the ground for maybe someone else to help, or, maybe there'll be a good reason for me to scale back the gun sales, to just sell a couple a week to kind of keep the lights on, as it were, and do more here on YouTube. And that's another thing. If you're on this channel, you've noticed that there are ads. Not something I like, but YouTube had changes coming on November 1st that were pretty much forcing my hand. Either way, there's going to be ads. So I thought, well, might as well profit a little bit from it. Plus, I do spend a good amount of my time either recording videos, taking notes for videos, or editing videos. And once in a while, this mainly applies to the main channel, but I will pay someone to help edit. Now that Jay's gone, that's kind of my only option. And I realized if I didn't do something, I was literally losing not insignificant money doing this. I don't mind doing a channel for free. I don't mind giving my time, but to give my time and money to do something, I'm not quite that generous. That seems a little silly. So apologies for the ads, but it's kind of just where we're at, both with YouTube and where I'm at now, trying to do this on my own. That said, YouTube Premium's pretty great. I bought that a year or two ago whenever it came out for no ads, and it is definitely worth the couple of bucks a month it costs for me. What I was getting into is the ads on YouTube were sometimes causing my speech to crash, or the web browser to crash with my speech. So that was very annoying. So without ads, kind of just avoid that whole problem. Speaking of ads, while I was down there visiting family, so we don't have TV, and I've said this before, we haven't had TV for over a decade, so I have no idea. I realized, because several family members still have TV, oh my god, the ads. First, just how dumb they are and loud, but also how many there are and how long they last. I swear it's half and half now. I remember, if you look back at, say, old TV shows that were on for an hour, the actual length of the show is 49, 50 minutes, meaning you have 10, 11 minutes of ads. And then you look at a little bit later, and it was 45 minutes. And that was when I grew up. If you looked at, say, an episode of a show, it was 45 minutes runtime for the episode, so 50 minutes per ad, so 1/4 was ads. And then I remember later on, when I was an adult, you looked at runtimes for shows, and it was like 42 minutes. So 18 minutes for an ad. Getting pretty close to 1/3 there. And now, I swear, it's 30-30. 30 minutes ads, 30 minutes show. Probably not quite that bad, but once you factor in the end credits and the title screen, actual content of the show, yeah, and you're paying for the privilege. It's not like we're using rabbit ears to get it for free out of the sky. People pay a couple $100 a month. More, maybe? I don't know nowadays. We bailed out when it went over like $150 a month. But you're paying for the privilege of watching ads half the time. And the other half is like Pawn Stars or Ancient Aliens. So, yeah, gonna say a hard pass on that. Gonna have to say that. Oh well. I've noticed a lot of people are kind of going without TV now. But, yeah, I think that's a good idea. A good way to save some coin. So what about you? Do you have TV or not? I would definitely rather put my money and time into good internet, good high-speed internet. It seems like a great thing, and if I need to, I can do the things like YouTube Premium or Prime, whatever they call it. I think it's Premium, without ads. But a lot of the times I just, there's always more stuff to look into and do. Lately I've been having a lot of fun just researching and checking out Russian tank stuff. It's been a really fun thing to get into. Just something different. I don't know. We all need a good change, right? Yeah, going back home, it was good. I'm certainly not a small town person anymore. I don't want to live in a big town, but small towns aren't exactly all they're cracked up to be either. I don't know. I'm glad to have grown up there when I did, but it seems like small town America has been consumed by drug use, be it, the Oxycodone, ephedrine, opioids, that's another thing, but yeah, that whole thing, or just straight up methamphetamine. It seems to be kind of the two things, uppers and downers. When I was growing up, and this is a little bit of reminiscence, but oh well, hell with it. It was, drinking was pretty darn common with marijuana. And once in a while, you'd see some shrooms or what have you, but that's about it. And, I didn't have a bad time growing up there. I had a decent enough education. Actually had a couple of really good teachers in high school. And had enough good friends. But now it just seems like everything has just changed. Small towns. I kind of reflected to my mother. I said, pretty much my entire group of friends I grew up with have left town, myself included. It says something, because going back to my dad's generation, growing up, a lot of his high school friends and whatnot were still in town. Some of them might have moved away either to the next town over or moved away for the army and then moved back when they became older. But a good chunk of the people he grew up with were still around. For me, that's not the case. I thought about when I got back home, hey, who should I call to hang out with, go grab a burger or beer? And I realized I really don't know of anyone in town. I'm sure there's a couple of people that I don't know moved back, but since I don't do Facebook, I wouldn't really know. And that's alright. But kind of sad. And the same thing. But where we live is nice. It's not a big town, but it's not small either. It's got everything we need. And I just checked. As I've said before, it's still rated as one of the better places to live in the US of A, for what that's worth. So, figure we'll hang out here, especially with the wife getting a new job, and they were offering some pretty good promotion opportunities and whatnot. By the way, it's not Walmart she's working for. Hell no. In fact, one of the people she works with used to work at Walmart, and he said coming to work at this place they're at is, quote, a breath of fresh air compared to how Walmart corporate is run. So, yeah. But there are a lot of people that do work for Walmart up here. But it seems to be more of a gateway job. Like you come in, you work for Walmart home office for 2 to 5 years, and then with that experience and that on your resume, you go to be a buyer or work for a supply company for them, or a logistics company that handles Walmart's needs. Up here, most business is some way connected to Walmart. That's just how it is. But yeah, not the most healthy corporate environment, if you ask my humble opinion. I'm right, but yeah, that's kind of what we're at. But we'd like to get a place a little bit bigger, and I definitely want more land. Where we're at now is just a typical, plot of land. I don't know, half acre, something like that. But I'd like to get a couple of acres land, just to have a little room. I mean, ideally, I'd love to get a place where I could shoot on the property, but I'm not sure how realistic that is, given the fact that I don't drive. Typically, if you live in such a place, you really do need to drive your vehicle. So there's kind of desire versus reality I'll have to moderate there. But We'll see. No, not everything is good. I mean, better than it was. There were a couple of family issues. Like I said, one member has had some health issues, so I was a little worried about that. Another member was not in a good marriage, but that's finally over. So pretty much the news I got down there was positive. Got to spend time with some of the kids in the family, and they're getting older, and I kind of like it when kids get older, where you can talk with them or play jokes, either on them or with them, if that makes sense. Of course, my cat was mad at me for leaving for a few days. She always gets sullen when I'm gone, so that's always fun to be. I mean, she doesn't bite or hiss. She just sulls up and doesn't visit for a few hours till she settles in. Oh, I did get some Bluetooth headphones, and ran into Best Buy. Typically, I'd buy such a thing on Amazon, but with headphones, I really wanted to feel them, and so I went in, and they had two brands. They probably had more, but in the headphones section, not the gaming section, they had Bose and Beats. Gee, I wonder which one I would pick. Right. So, yeah, they worked out pretty well. I think they're pretty neat. I used them while I was traveling, and I like that they're Wi-Fi. They get good battery life. They charge really quick. They're comfortable with volume adjustment on the headphones. And if you plug them in, they immediately switch from being Bluetooth Wi-Fi headphones to corded headphones automatically. So that's really nice. I've never owned a pair before, believe it or not. I do have wireless headphones, but they're the radio kind, and the Bluetooth sound better. But the nice thing about the radio kind, they've got really good battery life, and they've got really good range. You can go several hundred feet, even through some walls and things with the radio type, even though they're not as nice sounding. The Bluetooth, shorter range. I think these seem to be 50 to 100 feet maybe. But they're quite clear if you're within the same room, or at least maybe one room over from the device they're connected to. But yeah, it's kind of something I bought for myself. So, bought some headphones, bought some snap-together shells for mag pouches, and ordered some more tank models from Russia. By the way, I'm really impressed with how fast Russian post has gotten. Back when I lived there, I remember ordering CDs and records out of the UK and France, and it took 3 or 4 weeks to get from there to Russia. And now I'm ordering stuff from there, and it gets out of Russia in under a week, and it gets to me in about another week, depending on how long it gets stuck in customs. But if customs is being pretty quick, it's under 2 weeks to get all the way from Moscow to middle of the USA. And I did read that Putin put more money and investment into their postal system, and it seems to be working, because it was pretty shit-tastic about 10, 15 years ago. Crazy that if you invest in a service, it gets better. Too bad apparently we don't have the money to do that here. Also, when I was in Russia, the roads were pretty crap because they were left over from the Soviet era, and moreover, the Russian climate is really hard on roads. But apparently Putin has done quite a bit to reinforce the infrastructure there. But keep in mind, while America has a good bit of roads, good bit of land, not a small country, I mean, heck, Texas is about the size of Europe. Russia has a lot more than the U.S. So, yeah, connecting, say, St. Petersburg to Vladivostok, that's a lot of road. It's also about a week and a half to 2 week journey by train, depending on which way you take. So, yeah. Yeah, not getting into politics, and it's really not a Republican or a Democrat thing. I just wish we would invest again in our society, be it roads, schools, healthcare. It just seems like we're coasting, and we have been coasting for the last 30 plus years. You ever notice that the last several presidents have run on a platform of change, and that they're an outsider and they're going to change things in D.C., and then they get in, and of course they don't, because it sounds good as a campaign jingle, but the reality is there's a lot of entrenched bureaucracy in Washington, D.C., and I think that's the problem. People are, doing the thing about Biden, and don't get me wrong, not really a fan, but look at the way things are. Both the Congress and the executive branch have abdicated more and more of their responsibility and decision-making power to the bureaucracy, to the clerks, and to the apparatchiks, to the career government people. You see that a lot with the ATF. A lot of the decisions that should have been made by Congress, and if not by them, by the president, they pass the buck on to the ATF themselves, saying, hey, you make the decisions. And you see that not just with them, but, the EPA and plenty of other agencies. Because no one wants to be seen as the bad guy. No matter what call you make, the other side's going to lampoon you on TV. And so their solution as politicians is simply not to make decisions at all. I guess that's one way to not get in trouble, but it's kind of led to the situation now where our nation's been coasting for a long time. Sometimes it's good just to make a decision, right or wrong, at least to make one and have some movement, in my humble opinion, even though I'm right. But, yeah, people get too caught up in partisan politics and partisan loyalty to really look at the problems in their own side. And there's been plenty of hypocrisy we've seen this year, that's for damn sure. But oh well, that's the problems of the world. Nice thing about being about halfway through my life, at least hopefully only halfway through, is that sometimes you just kind of don't have to worry about that stuff anymore, and it'll be what it is. I just try to do videos and learn and take care of my family and whatnot, and remind myself what's important. And that's kind of where I'm at. That's one reason I went home, is just to do the family stuff, and because I know that's what my dad would have wanted, and I hope it is doing the right thing. That's what I can control, so that's what I am trying to do. And when things get too heavy, too hard, that's when I go play with my little tanks and my little planes. Or if they're really heavy and hard and I'm really stressed, that's when I get my big guns and go shooting at the cabin. So, it's a good form of stress relief. And probably a lot healthier than drinking or drugs, I would think. That's the nice thing about gun ownership, because you have to be so clean in your record. Really kind of keeps you honest. You can't really be a drug user. And if you drink, you better make sure it never gets you into any trouble. Because if it does, yeah, you could find yourself not well received. But anyway, that's kind of what's going on with me. I'm good. Just kind of feeling tired. It's getting that time of year. Getting cold, dark, wet. I've got a birthday coming up very soon. It's actually, we ate for my birthday before I left my hometown with my family and had a good meal. It was tasty. Ended up having Cajun food, because it was really the only place that was open on a Sunday that would, a couple of other places I thought about were closed. So Cajun was fine. It's good. I've always liked spicy food, and I've always liked seafood, so wham. Kind of a little bit of both. Growing up and going to college, there was a Cajun place called the Cajun Gypsy. It was literally a mom and pop place with a couple of their kids helping out, and the nicest people. She always would deliver to me, especially during finals, and she'd even bring me groceries sometimes if I needed eggs or milk, or sometimes she'd bring me booze if I was having a bad day. And the very first time she delivered to me, the restaurant recommended to me, actually by Doc, the guy showed a couple of videos, the professor that got me into guns. But they'd recommended them because they lived down there in southern Mississippi near where they were from before. And I forget, let's just say the total was, $16 for the meal. And I gave her a 20. And she took it. Thank you. Yeah, I got my meal. And it was always an affordable place. I hear a knock on my door a couple minutes later, and I thought, oh, she forgot something, or maybe gave her the wrong bill, whatever. And she said, oh, you gave me too much. And I said, oh, no, that's a tip. And she goes, oh, no, I won't. I don't take a tip. So she never would. She never would take a tip. And she delivered to me. But just really good people. And I always like to find little mom and pop restaurants like that. And they usually have really good cooking, too. Yeah. Yep. Well, I guess I'll let you go. Wife should be home pretty soon. But I've been meaning to give you a black box. Sorry there wasn't really a topic as such. Just wanted to check in with you. And go from there. So I hope everyone is doing well as we get into the last little couple of months of 2021. I think we can all agree it's been a memorable year, for better or worse. And I hope we can get through it without any major problems. And I guess we'll find out, won't we, guys? But c'est la vie. But let me know how you're liking the Russian tanks videos. Got a few more recorded already that I'll be putting up over the next few days. And got a few Eagle Moss videos I'll be doing. And still got several Mishaco channel videos to go up over there. Including the 3-part mag collection version. I did the 3-part extended version for Patreons last week. And I edited them down to about 30-minute videos for the major YouTube, which I'll probably put out over the next month or so. I also have several videos on the newer Aces, the Rock and Lock and the Gen 2. I finally went ahead and broke down and did a video on the Gen 2 since people were asking. And I'm pretty much done with my T91 project. I showed you the upper this summer, but it actually got a complete lower done now, and need to do that. As well as SBRing the mini barrel. That's finally nearly done. Just needs to be refinished after the riveting. So a few new things. Hopefully be able to show you around Christmas. Yeah, time and all that. And we'll have some new Swiss guns soon. And little birdie told me there might be some newer imports before the end of the year. So hopefully we'll have some videos on that sooner than later. So, appreciate you hanging out with me tonight. Now that I can't feel my nose, ears, and at least part of my hand, I'm going to go in. Because the temperature is dropping. Although at least the rain stopped. I'll take it. Sincerely, I hope everyone's doing well. I appreciate the support. Again, I apologize for the ads, but needs must, guys. I'm sorry, but needs must. I'm just a little wary about my future as far as income and trying to make sure that I can keep on, especially with just, the way things are these days. But yeah. So yeah, feel free to comment below. If you could, please like, share, subscribe. And yeah, definitely check out the tank videos. I've been having a lot of fun making them. So let me know which ones you like, and if you like the modern stuff or the World War II stuff more. This is Misha, and I'll catch you very soon next time.